Hello, my tarot people. This is Vanessa, your Deep Desert Oracle. I'm coming at you from the high peaks of northern Arizona. You're going to hear a lot of dog sounds in the background today, potentially. Dog sneezing, dog hacking, dog allergies, dog paws. And I just want you to know that if you hang in there with me, it'll be worth it, because we're going to be checking out something I just got in the mail yesterday, and I haven't really had time to sit and go through them as much as I would like to. But I have gone through each of these decks, looked through each of them once or twice, 3 times a lady. And you know what? I don't have my glasses on, which is insanity. Hold, please. Okay. I did not have glasses. I did not have coffee. I mean, look at this beautiful clean canteen coffee thing that I got from Roy's in San Jose. It's so good. Okay, so let's talk. Let's look at this. This was a new edition, I guess a new eco-friendlier edition, according to the creators. Edition of the GOTHMANCY, Divination and Darkness. This is a tarot deck, the GOTHMANCY. And it is, I mean, it's pretty great. I'm really excited about it. I know this has been out. Different editions are available on Etsy still, I believe. And I'll talk a little bit about what I know the differences of this new eco-friendly edition to be. I'm not claiming to be an expert on that. I would check out the creators' Etsy store and website to get more information if you want that. And I went ahead and got both decks because they also released a new, I guess, also more eco-friendly version of they're calling it now the Viator Somniorium. Viator Somnorium. I'm doing my best with that Latin. And this is an Oneiromancy deck. So this is an oracle deck. This is not a tarot. So I got the oracle, I got the tarot. I'm super excited. I also got this beautiful tote bag, and I think we all got random cards from I believe the new oracle deck that the author and artist are working on. That will be confirmed when we go through this. If number 3 is intention, we'll know it's from this deck. If it's not, we'll know it's from the new deck that they're working on, because I know a big part of the Kickstarter was getting enough funds to start production of a new oracle deck. So if you're the creator and you're like, you're not getting this right, you want to tell me more clearly what's happening, what's shaking, I'd love to hear it. If you're someone who just knows what's going on with the creators, Stephanie Alaya and Daniela Efe, then let me know that too. Okay, so let's get into it without further ado. I am so in love so far with these. I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of a tuck box. They kind of they just feel like heartbreakers, not meant to last, gonna leave us too soon on this earth, especially if, you're using the deck a lot. But as far as tuck boxes go, it seems pretty hardy. It's got those cutouts that makes it easier to, open the box. So I will take that. I'm also going to move my camera up just a little bit because I know when I'm doing editing, sometimes the top gets cut off of my videos, and it drives me a little bit crazy. Let's take a look at the GOTHMANCY Tarot from Stephanie Alaya and Daniela Efe. And the lighting in here is, we're gonna be catching a little light from that top light. So let's move over here and do it this way, shall we? All right, so we've got our Fool, and I just adore what I'm seeing already. We've got what looks like a raven, a very Robert Smith figure kind of over here, a rainbow issuing from these clouds, and these kind of labyrinthine steps, which make me think of the film The Labyrinth, that kind of climax scene when she's looking for Toby in the Goblin King's palace of illusions and distractions and surreal, kind of madness. So I love to see these two goth kids. These, I think she calls them gothlings in the book, just starting their journey. I like the togetherness of this fool. You don't always see, like, the fool can be kind of a rogue, lone wolf character, seemingly. He's got his little dog quite often, or some kind of pet companion. But here you've got so much going on. You've got so much guidance. You've got an angel guiding the way. You've got, a raven being a symbol of what, like, psychic intuition, knowing, psychic knowing. And I love that. I think that that's a really fun take on the fool. Here we have the magician. So we're following up with this character, right? This is the same guy, and he's got his raven on his shoulder still. So, you know, that same force, that same character is here. Please forgive my dog. He's got allergies. And I mean, okay, I digress and I apologize, but not enough. I'm not sorry enough to not do it. So we just adopted a dachshund mix. He's so cute. He's 2 years old. We're calling him Fritzy right now, but we're still playing the name game in this household. Anyway, he's adorable. We're getting to know him better. We're going on our 2nd week with this little guy, and his personality is showing itself to us more and more. There is a question if he might have kennel cough. So, you know, is it allergies? Is it kennel cough? What's going on? It's kind of been ebbing and flowing. So if you hear him, just you know, send him a little well wish. Just, Fritzy, don't let it be kennel cough, please. And if it is, let it go soon. So here we go. There's our magician. Oh, I wanted to say too about this magician. All of the elements are really well represented, prominently featured. And I love that there's a garden growing in front of him, like to show, you know, the ability to enact and grow things in the material plane. And you also have this as above, so below posturing from this very, very Robert Smith looking, very gothed out magician. Now, forgive me because I'm going to have probably some blind spots. I don't claim to be an expert on goth subculture or music. I am a child of the 90s. I was a little indie rocker, so I had a lot of goth friends, but there might be some figures, some little like nods to pop figures and goth musicians that I miss. And that's just going to happen because I haven't spent time with the booklet yet. And feel free in the comments to educate me. I would love that. Okay, here is the High Priestess. She is so badass, as a high priestess should be. Thank you very much. Love it. And I really like the pillars on either side of her. You've got the Sphinx on one side and Isis on the other. And you've got that world behind her that she's kind of blocking. This idea that there's something between you and the unknown, some point of access, I think is really well represented here. That point of access is a mediator, right? When I think of the High Priestess, I always think of the function of keeping you from knowing too much, like so that you don't know. You know how people can do a lot of damage with a little bit of information? I feel that way with the High Priestess. Like, she's actually, it's frustrating sometimes to get her in a reading because you just want to know, but sometimes it's not time to know and you're not ready to know, and she helps with that function. Yes, there's also the other side of that, which is honing your intuition and tapping into the High Priestess within you, but there's also an obstructive quality to her that I don't think we talk about very much. And it's a for your own good kind of obstruction. And so she's also a vampire. So, I mean, I could do a whole video on this card, so I need to chill out and keep going. Here's our Empress. This is beautiful. I love these little cups of liquids, different colored liquids at her feet. You've got a lot of the traditional nods. You've got some extras. This looks very, I want to expand on it. This looks very alchemical to me. She's got her scepter with the crystal at the end. So in this sheer kind of gauzy star encrusted, pomegranate encrusted skirt. It's almost a nod to a veil, and that softness against the hardness of the spikes on her jacket, and the billowing sleeves on this badass like motorcycle jacket is such a beautiful combination. It's such a beautiful way to make the Empress goth. The two worlds collide so well, and I really appreciate that. Here we have our Emperor card. This is really interesting because I'm getting very strong Johnny Cash. Maybe he's a prototype, like a goth prototype. He did dress in all black. He had that goth closet, you know, of all black uniform. And his aesthetic and his sensibilities and his artistry was very true to himself and not sunny nor optimistic. So it would make sense to have Johnny Cash as a prototype for goth. If you're on the goth scene and you know, and this is a known thing, tell me. I'd love to hear it. And really good use of the space on his guitar to use emperor symbols. What is he holding here? Looks like, yeah, that's his orb. It's his kind of globe orb. So this is one of my favorite emperors I've seen in a long time, maybe ever. I have to spend more time with him to really get to know him. But here we have a Klaus Nomi figure. So Klaus Nomi was a figure, performance artist, I believe musician as well, German. Anyway, yes, I'm sure we'll learn about him a little bit more in the book, but we have these two children again, which were the Gothlings from the Fool card. So we're watching them, you know, take their journey through the major arcana. And I love that they look a little bit more grown up here. Like they've already been through some initiations up to this point, and it's changed them. And they're ready for this next initiation with the Hierophant, which is a big deal, right? See the mimicry of the magician in his as above, so below, pointing up and down. So I get the sense of learning and initiation from this card, which is exactly what I'm looking for from the Hierophant, among a few other things. Okay, here we have our lovers. This looks like Susie Sue from Susie and the Banshees, and I'm not sure who this is, if he's a guy on the scene, but we see a lot of union of opposites in this lovers card. And I love this phoenix and this white swan coming together. There's an alchemical feel to a lot of these cards, but like gothy, modern alchemical, or alchemy, which, wow, yes please, always. Now that I have it in my life, I don't think I'm gonna be able to be without it. Now that I know it exists. All right, here's the Chariot. This is really interesting. I love the lumpy musculature of these beasts pulling the Chariot. He's on a motorcycle. So we've got motion. We've also got a kind of fixed point feel to it as well, which is something I think we overlook a lot with the Chariot. Okay, so I'm having some memory issues with my phone, and it keeps cutting me off. I'm gonna try to get through these as quickly as I can. The universe is telling me, oh, look at this Edgar Allan Poe Hermit. Yes. Ooh, yes. That really works for me. Wheel of Fortune. With a little bit of an industrial feel to it, but still full of spirit and cycles of fate. Justice card. Look at this mask. What is up with that mask and this white wolf? Beautiful. I can't wait to read about this Justice card. She's badass. The Hanged Man. Featuring some very bondage knots kind of thing going on. You get the sense of enlightenment and willing sacrifice from him, which is pretty great. Death. Temperance. Let's hold Temperance and the Devil right next to each other, shall we? I like to do that. Both, you know, angels in their own way. I like to compare Temperance and Devil cards in decks because in a lot of ways, they are forces that oppose, neutralize, can turn into one another. So you've got complete lack of balance in the devil, right? You've got a kind of enslavement to what some people will call the Luciferic impulses, pleasure. It's not always a bad thing, but I mean, this one, these folks seem to be having an okay time still, but there's always that implication in the devil card that what feels good is going to turn on you, right? That's holding you back from your higher self, your development. And then temperance is all about balancing that stuff out, unifying those opposites, finding a way to integrate them and make them nourish each other, and use opposites in the way they restrain each other to keep us in a middle place where we can actually grow and develop and learn. And so you see that reflected really well here with all this union of opposites. We saw that in the Lover's card in this deck quite a bit too. The Tower. This is a really interesting Tower card. I haven't seen anything quite like it. I really, really love it because it really speaks to, first of all, the fact that the tower that gets struck down, that construction that's got to go, is often mental. The way of thinking about ourselves or the world or both, or our relationships. This kind of enslavement to the way that we think and to old paradigms and old belief systems is really implied here. And I love that. And I love this open lock at the top. And this hand issuing down from the clouds of like that bolt that makes you change. Because if you don't do it, if you don't initiate the change, something else will, right? So I really enjoy that card. The Star. This is looking very Ziggy Stardust to me. This has got strong Bowie feel. And yeah, Starman, right? Oh, it's so good. These are just really well done. And I feel like, he's on Mars, right? That would make sense. So cool. The thought of like nourishing Mars with water seems so extra like quenching to me. Like you get a sense of this like beyond earthly desert, in this card. Anyway, the Moon. We've got our Gothlings. Look how grown they are. They look like they're adolescents in this. Wow. This is actually really excellent. I was a little hung up on the face. I can get really weird about faces in my tarot decks, but you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and live with the weirdness of that face because everything else, the action on this card is so excellent and helpful and gives me even more than I get from, my favorite moon cards, because you get a stage of development in these central figures you're watching move through the deck. I love that the moonlight is making the shadows really prominent on the water. That's so accurate. I love these towers on the sides, giving that like gateway feel. Really good job. Wow. Ooh, this is Tori Amos. And I love her. She was one of my, oh gosh, like a revolution for me in music. I remember discovering her when I was in, 7th or 8th grade. And she's been a love of mine ever since. And she is quite the muse for many a goth. I'm so glad she's here. I think these are the Gothlings and they've sprouted wings. I love to see this. This is a great sun card. It's really beautiful. The Judgment card. This is really interesting. Is this supposed to be, are these like bandmates? Is this a band? I feel like this is a music reference I'm not quite getting. And that's all right because I don't need to know that to get the card. And look at this break in the clouds and the light shining through. That's huge. I really love too, because it's a goth deck, that the figures rising up, kind of the resurrection feel of the Judgment card is here without the tradition, without the religious aspect of it, right? So I'm grateful for that. So these bodies are exhumed, they're revived, they're up, And there's that stairway. There's a choice to be made here, right? Do you respond to the light? Do you stay where you are? I think it's excellent. And I love that it feels a little like a dance party. It almost reminds me of the figures that were in the Devil card. Here's the world. Again, alchemical symbols. You've got the, what is it? The cosmic egg, I believe. Is that circle or that serpent entwined egg? So potential. It's breaking open. Something, a whole new world is about to be born. And we've got our gothlings all grown up. Oh, wow. Really? Really effective. And here we have Frankenstein. I'm going to guess that this is Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein. And she's the Ace of Wands, which makes sense to me. Walking through kind of like the woods and just sizzling with potential and creativity, guided by her muse. Our Two of Wands. 3. I love the building of a triangle. And can we take a minute to appreciate the fact that the Two of Wands are drumsticks in this? That is so good. And you get that cosmic egg broken open in this. So you know you're in the new world, right? So yes, I love a framing in the Three of Wands, like a framed triangle. I think it speaks really well to what the Three of Wands is all about, for me anyway, which is a structure that points to something. There's motion implied and creation implied, and also having that frame, that solid, sturdy frame, it can withstand, the pressure of existing. It's pointed, it has a direction, it's contained. So all of the planning and wildness of the Two of Wands really logically leads to this kind of structure of the Three of Wands, which I think is awesome. Four of Wands. Okay, so a celebration. And it looks like love is being celebrated by peers, and it's joyful, and yeah, it works. Our Five of Wands. So this might be a more internal kind of struggle in our Five of Wands, an internal battle. Six of Wands. So we have some figures that I probably just don't know along the sides here. I will have to read about this one. I don't know if I get it. And that's okay. Seven of Wands. Looking very deadly. Yikes. Eight of Wands. In the RWS, you're going to have flying wands, connoting speed, and they're going to be landing, and they're focused and directed and coming at you fast. And this is a little bit more of a stable structure, so it'd be interesting to see. Ooh, this Nine of Wands is fantastic. Leaning on that one wand, so close. Path laid out before you, taking that last rest before that final haul. Love it. This is the Firestarter. I'm blanking on this musician's name as the Ten of Wands. And it's interesting, this choice, if in fact that's who it's supposed to be. I can't imagine it's referencing anyone else, but that musical artist did in fact, if I'm not mistaken, commit suicide. And I think it's a really interesting choice to use him as a Ten of Wands. I wonder if this was done before or after that news came out. I know it was some time ago. I'm guessing that the creators knew, and maybe this idea of taking on more than one can handle in this lifetime and deciding that it's too much is implied here. That's a pretty bold move. I wonder. This looks like Stevie Nicks to me, and I think it is supposed to be a young Stevie Nicks. Page of Wands. Yeah, you've got the tambourine. Oh, heck yeah. I see it. I feel it. I get it. It's really beautiful. Knight of Wands. Not on its horse, but very determined looking. It has really the spirit of the horse, right? They have almost the same expression. Queen of Wands. I love that all these court card, queen and the page both are in like a little mini pumpkin patch. It's pretty great. Oh, is this Prince? Oh my god. Okay. And does he have like spirit hands? What? I need to read what's going on here. And this like spirit tree burning inside. Ooh. Ooh, this is really interesting. There's a lot of places you can go with the King of Wands that aren't great, but if you're going to go to Prince, you're going to give me a whole new understanding of the King of Wands. So I just want to thank you for this choice. I can be a little prejudiced against the King of Wands. Okay, Ace of Cups. This is someone and something. This is referencing something, and I'm missing it somehow, but that's all right. Two of Cups. Okay. Three of Cups. But the feeling of camaraderie, togetherness, and partying is definitely there. Four of Cups. I love that two-faced cup. Really interesting. It reminds me of that saying that if you stare into the abyss long enough, the abyss will stare back at you, which I think is a cool thing to think about with Four of Cups for sure. Five of Cups. Ooh. You see this figure. It looks like they're performing on stage, and it looks almost as if all their losses coming up and out through their performance. That's really beautiful. Six of Cups. Could even be the ghosts of selves past, because they all look like him, right? That's a really hot take on that card. Six of Cups, not from me, but from the creators. Cups. This is definitely a band. Forever Young. Is that like a... But this really works, doesn't it? Seven of Cups. Eight of Cups is really interesting because usually you just see the leaving. You don't see the entering of a new space for this card. So I find that very intriguing. Nine of Cups. I know this is referencing someone too. It looks familiar, but I just can't pull up a name, unfortunately. This is an interesting Nine of Cups. What's I want to learn. I need to learn more about this. This also looks like Elvis to me. I don't know. As I read through the book, I'm gonna be like, oh, that's right, embarrassing, haha. I'm not that cool, you guys. All right, here's our 10 of Cups. So we've got this graveyard party, which is just such a perfect way to make a goth 10 of Cups, is it not? Oh, we have Boy George for our Page of Cups. This is Karmic Chameleon, full Karmic Chameleon phase, stage, era, and I am just loving this. The world was not primed. There was not the space in mainstream, culture, dominant culture for that, and they made space where it did not exist, and that is brave and beautiful, just like being vulnerable and being sensitive and embracing those things about yourself and being like a student of love. That is brave. So I love that choice. Knight of Cups. Cool. Wow, this is a really active Knight of Cups. Okay. I don't know what's up with that other figure kind of flying up or out of the frame. Is there a striving maybe the message I get from this card is that in all that striving, you've made something all about you, and you've actually completely ousted the object of your affection in the production of your Queen of Cups is divine, which I think is so fun. I don't know much about divine. I'm surprised to see her in the cups suit, but maybe there's something I just don't realize about her. I love this. King of Cups, looking to me like very Johnny Deppy. And if, you know, if Divine's your queen, Johnny Depp is your king, if in fact that's who I'm looking at. Maybe I should just find out. I like the figure though, whether you know who it is or not. But I do think it's, this one is maybe a little more important to know the reference. Okay, let's try. This is so good. Come on. Showing the reflection in the sword of, looks like of the viewer, right? Here you are. Oh, that's really smart. There are some choices made here that are so creative and so unique. I like that I was saying that right as like the most classic Three of Hearts. Okay. This has got to be Grace Jones, right? Yeah, I think that it is. And it's beautiful. Beautiful Four of Swords. I love all of the roses interspersed amongst the swords. They give me that sense of, I don't know, regeneration, nourishment. Almost like stopping to smell the roses with your cigarette. Five of Swords. Wow. These kind of battling beasts as like, you know, avatars for their people. It's really interesting to me. I'm not going to make a lot of commentary on the flag here behind these guys and the seemingly kind of skinhead look that they've got going on, because I would be speaking ignorantly and I just don't want to do that, so I'm gonna have to learn about it. Six of Swords. Seven of Swords. Interesting, these like transparent horses and people in her wake, just leaving a trail of ghosts in her wake, and ultimately hurting herself more than anyone else, or just as much, or in a different way. Eight of Swords. 9. Yeah, that demon on her chest, right? The 10 of Swords. I like this 10 of Swords. There's a kind of, feels a little Marseille-ish, but there's the laurel, what looks like laurel wreath to me. There's a kind of victoriousness in the surrender here. Hands also always speak to me of agency and choice and, you know, the doing, putting intention into action. So that's a really interesting thing to see in the card too. The Page of Swords. I love the air elemental sign as a patch on the jacket. That's really smart. There's the Knight of Swords. Wow. Wow. I'm a little speechless. That was really something. Here we have another vampire for the Queen of Swords. So the High Priestess was the vampire we saw first, right? She seems to be offering up some truths, some hard truths, that Queen of Swords, which makes sense to me. We have our King of Swords. Wow, okay. Ready to bleed tattooed on his hand. Very interesting. Ace of Pentacles, this very like Vincent Price looking character, I believe. Don't know. Two of Pentacles. I feel like this is a version of our baby goths. So you've got two shoulders, two heads coming out of one body trunk. And you've got this floating figure in the black waters. There's a lot going on there. Three of Pentacles. Is this a goth power couple? I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out. Okay, Four of Pentacles. I think this is the Misfits skull face, right? And I think it's a good choice for this card. I almost feel like that saying, you can't take it with you. It's very implied here. This guy's like, yeah, you can. I'm gonna try. Okay, here's our Five of Pentacles. This looks like they're in a place called the Bat Cave. Was that a club that I should know about? I don't know. Six. Oh, Seven of Pentacles. This is Brendan Lee in The Crow. And this is awesome. He's got his list that he's scratching out because he's getting vengeance. And I think this is a really cool, very goth way to depict checking on, you know, what you've sown. How's your harvest doing? Just going over his list, seeing what needs to be done next. And there's all the work, evidence of it all done. Gosh, this was a really sad story in real life that I won't get into. But if you don't know about it, you should look up Brendan Lee in The Crow and what happened with him. It's really sad. Here's an Eight of Pentacles. This is fun and sweet and cute. It doesn't look like work to me. It looks like enjoying the fruits of your labor. So that's another cool take. And here's Elvira and the Nine of Pentacles. She is that bitch, you guys. She's that bitch in her garden, just enjoying the world she's made for herself. And that is so perfect. And the Addams Family and the Ten of Pentacles made me laugh out loud. Like a wild thing when I first saw it. It's so cute. It's so smart. Page of Pentacles. I know it's not Devo. Is it Devo? No. But it's interesting. It's interesting to see a planet that looks like Saturn here, and this waspy creature in a Page of Pentacles. I've got a spider and a web. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on in this card, but it's intriguing. Knight of Pentacles. Walking, not even on a horse. Looks like he's got a mission though. Here's our Queen. I love her. I love her. I love her. Queen Bee, or her bees. Giving me very Aphrodite, those bees. And her keyboard. I want to know who this is. I'm going to have to look her up. And her King of Pentacles. Wow. This is very, like, who is this? He's like a Medusa man. Awesome. This is an awesome deck. I am pretty in love. I don't know if you were picking up on the love vibes, but they were strong. And I just want to talk a little bit about the card quality. There's earlier versions of the deck that have a magnetic closure box instead of the top box that I've got here. I also know, I think there's hollow, black hollow edging, like gilded edging, and also a matte black edging on the other decks. And I think the actual GSM, excuse me, and type of card was different in that too. I think they were a little thicker. I don't know if they had a laminate that was as glossy as this one. Here's that light again. See, that light source is really shining on the card, but it's not distracting unless you're trying to film them, which, you know, we'll see how that goes if I use these. Oh no, what did I do? I did something funky. There we go. So these are the card backs. These cards feel very much like playing cards. They've got the bendiness. They're smooth. They don't have any granulated texture. The smooth, semi-glossy laminate. They slide around. So they're going to be really easy to fan. So let's show you that. I'm not a fanner, can you tell? Sorry. I thought they'd be a lot easier. They kind of like stop at one point and just like, ooh, give up. Which, there, that's better. That was nice. Hey. All right, I'm starting to get it. And I'm going to show you the shuffle. I'm going to make a little bit more room for myself. All right, so let's show you the shuffle. This is the first time shuffling these cards. So my guess is they're going to shuffle beautifully because of their playing card likeness and their bendiness. Woo! I swear I know how to shuffle cards, but these are some slippery suckers. Let me tell you right now, whatever finish they have on them has made them a slip and slide. So you can see that they kept a little bit of a bend from the riffle shuffle. I'm gonna have to collect them and myself. That was quite the unexpected surprise. But yeah, if you even hold them like this, they will slide out. So watch out for these guys. If you take them out, especially in public, if you're doing readings at like a fair or a bar, you're gonna wanna just keep them on a leash, basically. So let's look at now the Viator Somnorium Oracle deck. So same creators. You've got the conceptual ideas, I'm guessing the write-ups too, from Stephanie Alia. You've got illustrations and design by Daniela F.A. or Eve, or Efe, or F.A. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, I'm sorry. But here's contact information for both of them, which is fun. And here's the little booklet. Okay, so let's try to get out of the shadow that I'm casting. I think the choice to start, and we've got the same slipperiness going on here. I'm just gonna put these down. I think the choice to start an oracle deck with a negative card, and I put air quotes on negative if you didn't hear that, because I think it's a limited word, but you know what I mean by it. So since this is a shorthand we all understand, we'll say negative card, like toxicity or toxic. I think that that's a really bold choice to start a deck, and it almost makes me think maybe we're going to have a progression, like starting in a dark place, moving towards a light place, or cycling through dark and light, and I'd like to see if that holds true. So here it is. You see that entanglement with the snake, the reaching for something, the light in the background. Really beautiful. Here's the card back. That's gorgeous. Again, you have wrists with snakes around them and circling them. You get a different feel though, right? There's a beautiful fluidity and design to the ones on the card back, and there's more of a kind of oppressive, smothering, suffocating feel to the one in the card, in this toxic card. Ooh, recurring dream. Our snake has moved up to the head and is tossing up that hair and those thoughts, kind of wreaking a little havoc maybe, but maybe with a message to try to get you to pay attention. I really like that. Loss. Ooh, we see some blue teeth. We see a hand made up of stars, meteors, shooting stars. and some kind of like broken rocky texture as a background. This is really interesting. I can't help but think of wisdom when I see molars like this. I also think of, I don't know, roots. I think of like the most essential parts of us. Very, very like material sense of what we are. And then you have this really, really spiritual, etheric sense of what we are. The hand is open, but not making it clear if it's receiving or giving. That's very interesting. Okay. Robbery. This is such a cute card with such a sinister title. If you've ever been robbed before, you know that feeling and the hypervigilance that can come afterwards. And also, you know, we don't know. Is this the robber? Is this before the robbery? Is this the person who's lived through the robbery afterwards? I mean, fear. Wow, this is powerful stuff. These like demonic figures kind of siphoning energy and kind of feeding off of the sleeping figure here, I think are really interesting. The way that they outnumber and kind of gleefully feed off of the woman in the forefront, the sleeping woman. The way she's kind of offered up to them like a platter. And you know, if you've ever been in a place of fear, it can really feel this way, right? Like somebody's just reaching in and pulling out who you are. You're not as much of yourself. And well done. Flying. This is really beautiful. Her flight is so effortless seeming, right? You don't see the work of flying here. You don't see anything helping her. I mean, maybe her hair is helping her a little bit, but there are no like giant wings. She's not riding on something. It's beautiful. She's flying over water. Dwellings. Oh, wow. This really reaches out, grabs me, and takes me there. This reflection, action is so deep. It gives a depth to the card. A very rooted feel to it, but also the sense of a mirage. There's a lot here. It's a great card. Give it time. She's kind of trapped in the hourglass with the sand. Yeah. The maze. Falling. So here we have kind of the sister card to the falling, or excuse me, kind of the sister card to the flying card, right? What's the difference between flying and falling? Initiation. Illusion. Another card playing with reflection a lot. In this case, makes sense. More obviously, more quickly, maybe than the dwelling card. But yes, what we see is not always an accurate reflection of reality. Sometimes it misses the mark. Sometimes what we see might not be there, but we're seeing beyond what's physically there too. So maybe what we see is even true. The illusion holds a truth beyond what we were looking for too. So interesting to me. Okay, let's get a move on. Hope. Oh, this figure's wearing a cat mask. Oh, they're trying to catch this. What looks like shooting stars in the background. They're trying to catch that shooting star, and the star's looking back at them. There's a lot of cards so far, a theme in the cards of what we're looking for us, which I really like. Other worlds. This is a really fun, abstract, surrealist kind of card that I like. The Away. That is good. All I can say is that is good. Yep. And the Chasing. So sister cards back to back for 15 and 16. My goodness. How well they captured the away and the chasing. Lucid. Like all those fingers pointing in a direction. That makes sense for the card, right? For the title. That directing quality of lucidity, especially with a lucid dream. And yeah, vigilance. Noche oscura, dark night. The elements. I love the kind of comic book illustration feel that a lot of these have. Wasteland. The fine lines that you can see. The line work is really lovely. The color palettes, look within. Beautiful. There's a key inside of her. Imbalance. Interesting. So they're referencing the heart weight against the weight of a feather in this card, clearly, which is an Egyptian, I don't know, I don't want to call it a myth, but an ancient Egyptian idea about death, that when you die, your spirit goes to kind of like a reckoning with Ma'at. There's like not just the principle, but also the goddess of justice and order. And basically your heart gets weighed against a feather. And if your heart is heavier than the feather, I think the story goes, you get thrown to be devoured by a crocodile. And maybe to start all over again, or be, taken apart and put back together anew and try again to get it right. Yeah, you'll see Anubis as the wearer quite often. Gift. Shame. Murder. This is so interesting. Let's look this one up. Because, like, what? Rebirth. This is so pretty and sad. And again, it's got that comic strip feel, right? But like, I don't know, a more weighty comic strip, like a deep comic. Past lives. And I love how this is just like a bag spilling out of pictures of faces. The crab in this one that's kind of falling really stands out to me as a Cancerian. Also, Cancers are ruled by water, and water holds memory. And Cancers are known to be, they remember everything because everything makes such an emotional imprint on them, and it stays in their watery natures forever, which I can attest to being true. Don't tell anyone. But this is just gorgeous. It also feels burdensome, right? They feel heavy in this. So, what's up with that? Conflict. Dream Lover. This is a really fun card because it's specific. I find a lot of card readers and just tarot folks on YouTube and everywhere, social media sites, will really dodge and weave and do a lot of mental gymnastics about doing love readings or a card coming out that looks really positive for a romance, and like there's this constant caveat or asterisk on it, or like little backpedaling, like, but it could also just be like self-love or friendship or relationship with an acquaintance. And I'm like, sure, that's true, but take the leap. Romantic love is a huge part of our human experience, and just because not everyone prioritizes it doesn't mean that it's not a big part of what we go through in this life. So yes, if you take the leap and you say, okay, here's this Lover's card next to a 10 of Cups, next to the Sun and an Ace of Wands, like, are you gonna really try to include all the configurations of relationship that could mean? Or are you just going to kind of go for it and say it and put it out there? And if you're wrong for some folks, you're wrong for those folks. That wasn't their reading. It's okay. I love that this card is like, boom, dream lover, lover, romance. It's okay. I think that that's really admirable. Innocence. Oh, it's a little Bambi figure. So cute and sweet. I do understand too, let me just say about this, my little tirade about, just go ahead and say romance, it's all right, that I think what I'm seeing in TarotTube is a reaction to all of the like focus and obsessive attention paid to the idea of soulmates and the idea of twin flames, and people kind of losing like hours and massive units of their own energy to this pursuit of a romantic partner. I do think that there are a lot of folks, well-intentioned, intelligent readers, who are trying to kind of even out the scales, and so they want to model, like, you know, being reasonable about romance and not making their readings all about that. And so I do want to give credit to that and kind of see, like, say that I get it. I get where that might come from. It's not healthy to just, you know, obsessively focus on you know, a romantic partner potential, or to make that the point of your life, because it's not the point of your life, right? Our romantic relationships help us figure ourselves out and help us figure the world out and help us learn how to love better. And it's not about the other person, and it's not about you being incomplete until you meet someone. So I want to say that too. I didn't know I'd be going off on this. Pardon. Pardonnez-moi. Back to the cards. Warrior. This is very cool. What's going on with these other two figures in the background? Laughter. This is really joyful and sweet. You get such playfulness here and mirth, and I'm into it. Dancing. You get a lot of these, like, I don't know, I think they're like Japanese demon masks. So there's definitely influences that keep coming up in this world, this little oneiromancy world. Stuck. Inspiration. Really beautiful. The source. This is really cool. This makes me think of the voices in our heads that are not us, honestly. It makes me think of the stuff that we internalize. I don't know if that's what this card was intended to do, but that's what it makes me think of. Excitement. Oh, this reaching. Interesting. Synchronicity. Okay. The relationship between synchronicity and balance is very highlighted here, I think. Missed opportunities. This is so cute, and it's got that comic book feel. I love her foot coming out of the frame like that. Ooh. Racing from our world to that next one. Health. World of dreams. Impromptu. This is cool. This makes me think of just going off script completely, and I love it. Could also be a lack of preparedness. Movement. Oh, interesting. To and fro, here and there. Animal spirits. This is like a page from a child's book, and I love it. Destruction. A definite nod to Kali Ma. Done a little differently, and maybe a different goddess that I don't know of, but makes me think of Kali. Council. Love this card. I love this card. There's so much to love. The eagle, I mean, there's a lot here. There's a lot to love here. Let's keep going. But these symbols of wisdom, right? This figure cloaked in wisdom and feeling very shamanic and feeling very ancestral. I think they managed to do all of that so simply. Work. We've all had this dream, right? Just drowning in a pile of work that can never get done. Prophecy. This is beautiful. Wow, wow, wow. We have a burning tree here. Waves here. And a little, it's almost like someone trying to propagate a little branch or something like that in a cup of water, and you can see the roots. All the things we grow, feel, and burn for and set ablaze. Wow, okay. I love these cards, you guys. Healing. Oh. Here we have kind of a reverse position. Usually you see an angelic figure up here, and then, you know, two human figures down here, often depicted as male and female, but not always. And you get almost a flip of that here. These jellyfish are really badass too. What's going on here? I can't wait to read about this one too. Okay, one more thing about this. Healing is such a trope in oracle cards. It's something you're going to see a lot. It's not a new concept for an oracle deck, but the way it's depicted here is really unlike anything I've seen for this title in an oracle deck. So I'm going to look it up. I love that we're going to look up one thing I've never seen in any oracle deck anywhere ever. Never seen the word murder. Nope. And one super common idea with a very different kind of visual representation. So that's fun to me. I hope it's fun to you too. Death. This is such a badass death card because we see the breaking apart of the facade on this person, the smiling facade, and we see this sobbing truth underneath making its way, tearing down the old structure and making its way to the surface, this tender, raw, new truth. And I just think it's beautiful, especially set against these flames in the background and this like sun moon. This is great. And abstract. This is so cool. This is like all the mathematics and scientific kind of and mathematical writings and equations and formulas that I don't know. And it cracks me up because these remind me of the meme, you know, the face that's trying to figure something out. And then you've got this like sacred geometry in the center, and you've again got that spinning black, is it a black sun? See, very similar. So I can't wait to read about some of these. So you get the same slippery quality, same thickness, same kind of, see, look at that. Matte laminate, but glossy matte, if that makes sense. In shadow, it's fine. The minute the light source is too pointed, you're gonna get a little glare. Yeah, I imagine that exactly like the tarot, they're gonna fan well and shuffle very slipperily. So maybe overhand shuffling also could get really messy and crazy, but you'll get a lot of jumpers. That'll be fun. So, okay, number 26 and number 50. Let's start with 26, Murder. What is up with you, card? I need to know. Oh, I like that these pages are laminated. Yay. So, as far as I know, Oneiromancy is dream interpretation, or not dream interpretation, but divination with dreams. Yeah, here we go. Thank you for purchasing the Viator Somniorium. So I'm not sure what Viator means, but I know Somniorium must have something to do with sleep because of Somni. The deck was inspired by my experiences with dream work and healing. The cards can be used in any format. I prefer the 9-card spread. Okay, looks like there will be a spread in here telling you to get really detailed with your questions with clients, which is always a little bit of a struggle for newer clients, I will say, because they're like, oh, I shouldn't have to ask you, you're psychic, right? Anyway, this is from Stephanie Elia. She's the writer and concept person for these. So let's find number 26 together. 26. Here we go. Murder. A symbol of great hostility and transgression, a warning of actual harm coming our way, or that certain aspects of ourselves have been buried so deeply that they are demanding our attention in ways that have become too threatening to ignore. Ooh, that's very towery, isn't it? A need to immediately address the situation. If the querent is murdering or trying to murder someone, what does the attacker represent? Wait, I don't really get that sentence or that question. This is a powerful symbol that requires immediate action or engagement. She does reversals for these. That's interesting. Murder in reverse means we have done the necessary shadow work required so that it did not manifest in our reality. It can also mean that we averted through decision making a circumstance that would have had a tower like, there it is, moment in our lives. It can also mean we avoided a toxic or abusive individual. Fascinating. Oh, I just noticed too that the handle of the knife is a snaky. It's a snake with teeth. Wow. Cool card. Okay, let's look up number 50, healing. Okay. You or someone you know is going through or will go through a healing process. We can heal ourselves, or sometimes we need the help of others. Be patient, loving, and nourish yourself at this time. You will come out stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Love yourself and tend to your heart, body, mind, and soul. Reversal. The healing has or is being prevented or postponed due to either conditioning as a result of a past trauma, avoidance of the issues, or further injury involving an old or new cycle. What needs to be healed in your life, and how can you begin that journey? Healing in your life, and how can you begin? I think there was a little typo here. That's fine. What steps do you need to take to heal old wounds and progress? Okay, so, not a radical take on healing the concept, but the art is pretty radical. And I love the sense that regeneration and renewal and restoration is often not a solo effort, right? The people in our lives are part of our healing. We're part of their healing. And there is the spirit aspect to it as well, but I love the community aspect to it too. So it's really, really cool. I adore these. I cannot wait to use them in readings. I think that they're wonderful. And I'm realizing too that we didn't go through the booklet for the tarot deck, for the GOTHMANCY Tarot. Before we do that, let's look really quickly at the spreads in the Oracle deck. Let's see. I'm always amazed that past, present, future readings are still included in little white books. And maybe I'm just being a snoot, but, yeah. That's fine. Oh, I see what they did here. So they gave examples. So this is like sample readings. Oh my goodness. That's so cool. Okay, I take back my snootery about my past, present, future. I take it back. It's a great learning tool. And in this reading A, you've got 34 dancing in past position, you've got 37 the source in the present position, and 16 the chasing in the future position. So, she goes into the details of how she would read this spread with these cards, and I think that that's so helpful. I wish everyone did this now that I'm seeing it, because if you really are like trying to learn how to do it, nothing helps more than hearing somebody's rationale and seeing how they do it, because what you can do is then not copy them, but you can be inspired. You can be like, oh, this is the part that I like and I get that and I want to do that. And this is the part that didn't make so much sense to me and I think I might have done it this way. And so it really encourages us to like put the training wheels on and take our first ride, you know, go for it. So, okay. Here is the Gothmancy guidebook. This is so freaking beautiful. I love a goth aesthetic. I was never a goth kid, but, you know, elegant darkness, you know, creepy beauty. Like, yes, please, of course. Why wouldn't I want that? We opened up to the High Priestess page pretty naturally, so let's go ahead and scope that out. Let's see what this is like. So each of the card descriptions starts with a quote. This one happens to be from the Kybalion. It says, the lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding. So if you can't understand it, if you have not cultivated an understanding mind, literally wisdom can't make its way to you, right? Intuition, so you've got some keywords in bold: intuition, women's mysteries, the Shekinah, guardian of the subconscious, deeper knowing, spirituality, the oracle, yin guidance, preservation, elixir of the widow. That's interesting. I have never seen that before. Spirit in the womb. Ooh. Psychic abilities, wisdom, diversity, duality, adaptation, Isis, and the goddess Diana. So, I mean, wow, it's packed. Really packed. Standing in an ancient Egyptian temple, the high priestess, immortal disciple of Isis, guards the secret of the elixir of the widow. Let's take a look at her. This was our vampiric high priestess. You know what? Anything's possible right now because I dropped so many cards on the floor. Because I'm just that awesome, and she might be on the flow still. Okay, we're gonna give up. Just gonna keep going. We see the Sphinx, a tetramorph acting as a guardian. Vampire mythos and lore represent the secrets of immortality and can be applied to alchemy and its stages. So there are so many alchemical mods in this deck. But it doesn't feel off-putting, you know? It feels inviting, as well as being a metaphor for transformation. Blood is life. Ooh, you guys, blood is life. Our own bodies create miracles daily, but we dismiss this as mundane. Women hold great magic. They were worshipped in ancient times in the form of the goddess who could create and nourish life. The blood and cycles connecting them to nature, and their intuitive and moonlight qualities to the great mysteries, or the great mysterious. The high priestess reveals her secrets to those who are worthy and embrace their intuitive nature. If we honor the sacred, we may be permitted to move into her mysterious depths. As the magician represents the yang aspect, the high priestess is the yin. Both teach us the importance of balancing polarities. Listen to your intuition. Look into the depths and see what mysteries are trying to make themselves known. This card's reflective qualities ask you to view your own projections of self. Intuition, mysteries, and all which is hidden. The reversal reads, we are not listening to our intuition. Instead of accepting depths of our inner knowing, we are ignoring them. We may not like the answer, are afraid, or are not opening up this side of ourselves. Doubt and inner strife. So then there's a little alchemy in the occult sentence here. The goddess Diana is related to the energy of the high priestess, and in alchemical work represents lunar consciousness. So this is like a whole education, which is wonderful. There are things that I've not seen before. Like, I don't think Spirit in the Womb or Elixir of the Widow are things that I've seen before. They might be alchemical things because I'm not super well versed in alchemy. Oh, and then it tells you a little bit about some more alchemical info. Dew in alchemical texts contained a divine salt that could transform mercury and sulfur. It also represented the cup of God, or what others called the Holy Grail. That's awesome. Song inspiration, Rapture by Blondie. That's awesome. Wall to wall, people hypnotized and they're stepping lightly, hang each night in rapture. So here we go. Here's a little rationale for why this was chosen. There are endless interpretations of rapture. I'm almost positive none of them are able to decipher the exact meaning Debbie Harry and Chris Stein were getting at. We try to get to the heart of things, but can't fully grasp their meaning. On the intuitive level, we can get part of the way. Like a poem, right? Like the Oracle of Delphi, the High Priestess gives her cryptic message and smiles at us as we walk away with more questions than we arrived with. If we're lucky, we may find a tiny nugget of meaning and truth to help decipher the message. The secrets of the occult may seem mired in confusion, but for the right student, the High Priestess may present us with the key. Wow. So yeah, that's exactly the feel I was getting from this High Priestess when I looked at her. This idea of riddling obstruction into all the answers to all the questions that we want right now is very much felt. And now that I know that her vampirism is all about blood being life, I think that gives me a whole new take on the archetype of the vampire and on the High Priestess for this deck. So what a gift, what a beautiful gift this deck is. I'm so excited to do my work with it. All right, this has been the GOTHMANCY and Viator Somnorium Oracle. I really love these decks. I'm so happy to have them. They are so much more than I even realized when I was ordering, and I really look forward to working with them, and I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough. Make sure to subscribe or even just hit like, you know, do a little something, throw a little energy my way if you feel called to do so. I would very much appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and week and life, and to see you here on the channel again soon. Okay, bye.